Okay, so good morning everyone. My name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we'll be talking about the Indian Express newspaper. We'll go through the important articles. Yesterday we could not come live, so we will be covering the important news article from yesterday as well. The mostly discussion today will be revolving around the GS2, that is the polity paper, because three important articles are there when we are talking about the Places of Worship Act. So Supreme Court has said something about it, so we'll be talking about that. Then we'll be moving further. Removing a judge in India. Recently in Rajya Sabha there was this proceeding which was started wherein nearly 38 MPs has signed the you can say motion with respect to the signed the notice with respect to the removal of a judge of Allahabad High Court. So we'll be talking about that. We will be going through the procedure that how a judge is removed in India. Okay. Then moving further, cabinet clears one nation, one election. So they have gone for the draft and they will be putting it in the parliament soon. So we will be witnessing a bill with respect to the simultaneous election or the one nation, one election. Okay. So we will be talking about all these aspects today. And we have started new section over here, that is geography through maps. We will be going through the some of the important geographical maps. We will be going through the important areas which has been in the news. We will try to understand that how India is there on the maps. We will be seeing how different states have different specific features. So all these things which are important for your examination, and it is important for you to have the visuals in your mind. So we will be going through those particular things through the maps. Okay. So now let's move further and start our discussion. Here you can see this is the front page here. History at 18. Gukesh becomes youngest world chess champion. Okay, so when we are talking about the Gukesh, he is from India and he has secured the glory to become youngest world chess champion. Okay, so you can remember the name for PCS etc. They can ask you this question. Now coming to the article over here. Supreme Court steps in, stops all surveys until we decide Places of Worship Act. Okay, so we will go through this article, and then another article is here. Cabinet clears bill for joint Lok Sabha and Assembly polls to be tabled soon. So we will go through this article as well. Now let's start with the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. The term Dharini was seen in the news recently. It is a high resolution brain atlas of developing fetal brains, a robotic instrument for neuroimaging, a brain surgery simulation tool, a study on adult brain disorders. Okay, option A is your right answer. That is a high resolution brain atlas of developing fetal. Okay, now let's move further, and before that I would like to tell you that we are coming up with a new batch for English medium. This will be the first offline batch at Noida Sector 15 Center. So it is starting from the 12th December 6 p.m. Address is C171/2 Block A Sector 15 Noida, and for more information you can call on this number, that is 9311406440, or you can directly visit the center to get yourself enrolled. Okay. Other than that, here you can see at our center, that is Prayagraj, we are starting a UPSC GS Foundation course from 2nd of January 2025. It will be available in Hindi as well as English medium. For Hindi medium, timing is 6 p.m. English medium, that is 5:30 p.m. Okay. At Lucknow Center, we are starting it on 23rd December 2024, both in Hindi and English medium. Timing will be 11:30 a.m. Then when we are talking about the New Delhi Karol Bagh Center, we are starting from 23rd December 2024 in English medium at 8 a.m. Okay. Now, before moving further, if you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Now let's start with the fact of the day. Now, fact of the day, we have taken about the Indian Coast Guard. Recently, you must have heard that the Indian Coast Guard and the Pakistani, you can say counterpart, they have gone for the rescue operation. Okay, so that was there. ICG was established by the Coast Guard Act 1978 as an independent armed force of India. Now, it is an armed force search and rescue and the maritime law enforcement agency under the Ministry of Defence. It is headquartered in Delhi. Now, it is a armed part of the armed force. Okay, we are having various armed forces. One of them is Coast Guard. Okay, Indian Coast Guards. Now, what is the job of these people? They are they are in the you can say oceans, and they are there for the search and rescue operations. Okay, other than that, for the maritime law enforcement or the maritime security. Okay, then coming to the next one, the blueprint for the multi-dimensional Coast Guard was conceived by the visionary Rustamji Committee 1974. You can remember this name of the committee. On the recommendation of this particular committee, or you can say that they have conceived the idea of having Indian Coast Guard. So this committee was there in 1974. With that, in 1978 we have come up with the act, that is Coast Guards Act. Okay. Now if you look at the functions over here, you can see the duties when we are talking about over here. So related to SAR, the Coast Guard Charter of Duties includes providing protection to fishermen, including assistance to them to sea at the sea when they are in distress. Okay, so that is one thing. When we are talking about the fishermen community, they are dependent on seas for the livelihood, and the safety of these fishermen, and when they are in distress, so for that you can go for the rescue operations as well. So that is there, providing protection to the fishermen. Coming to the next one, safety of life and property at the sea. Now be it you can say sea vessel, or be it a person who is there over there, okay, or the fishermen. So safety of life and property at the sea, that is one of the duty of coastal guards. Okay, search and rescue at the sea, we have already talked about that. Enforcement of the maritime laws at the sea. Okay, when we are talking about the you can say our sovereign areas, okay, where we have the exclusive rights. So over there, Coast Guard, Indian Coastal Guards, they are basically going for the patrolling etc. as well. Okay, the Director General of the Indian Coast Guard serves as the National Maritime SAR Coordinating Authority, that is NMSARCA. Okay, so this is not important very much, but the thing is these duties are important for you when it was established and on the recommendation of which committee it was established. Okay, now let's move further and let's see the new section, that is geography through maps. Now when we are talking about the map, that is important for you because obviously when we are talking about the globe, you need to know that which country is where, okay, which geographical feature is where. Now you cannot go everywhere and point out that this is the Atlas mountains, these are the Himalayas. So we need to have a paper representation of that particular, you can say geographical features or the location of these places. Okay, that is what basically your map is. Okay, map is study of map is called as the cartology. Okay, now look at this particular map over here, that is your, you can say, the all the continents and the oceans are shown over here. Okay, we have different continents over here, that is, you can say, North America, South America, Africa, Europe, Asia, Australia, Antarctica. These are your continents. Okay, now there are water bodies or the oceans, that is the largest one is Pacific Ocean, then Atlantic Ocean, we have Indian Ocean. Okay, then North Sea and Arctic Ocean. Okay, so sorry, this Antarctic Ocean or the Arctic Ocean. Now these are the oceans which are there. This is basically, you can say, forms the part of your earth. Okay, now looking at India's location, we will be starting with the India's location. So this is your standard meridian, 0 degree. Okay, this is your equator, that is 0 degree lat, this is 0 degree longitude. Now it is dividing you in the 4 parts over here. So here you can say, when we are talking about the 0 degree meridian, this is dividing the globe into 2 parts. One is the eastern hemisphere and the western hemisphere. Then we are talking about the 0 degree equator, that is basically dividing you in 2 parts, that is northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. When we talk about India, India is there in the northern hemisphere and the eastern hemisphere. Okay, so that you have to remember. India is part of the Asian continent. Now let's come and talk about the position of India. When we look at the latitude and longitude, so here you will be seeing that it is starting from the 8 degree 4 minute north latitude to here you can see 37 degree 6 minute latitude. Okay, and when we are talking about the east and west, here you can see, as I told you, we are on the north and the east hemisphere. So here you can say it is 68 degree 7 minute east to 97 degree 25 minute east. Okay, so that these are your longitudes and latitudes. Here when we are talking about this expanse, here you can see this is also northern latitude, this is also northern, this is eastern, this is also eastern. Don't confuse with that, this is the eastern and this is the western. Okay, because we are talking about the hemisphere over here. Coming to the next part, that I have told you that there are you can say equator and the meridian. Okay, so this equator is there. Then we have another line that is basically your 23.5 degree, that is Tropic of Cancer. Okay, and in the southern hemisphere 23.5, that is basically Tropic of Capricorn. Now from through India there is Tropic of Cancer which is passing through India over here. Okay, so here you can see this is your Tropic of Cancer, this is passing through here 8 states. Okay, so let's see, one is your Gujarat, second is some part of Rajasthan over here. Okay, then Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. Okay, and here some part of Jharkhand. You can say that from the center, some part of Chhattisgarh and the center through the center of the Jharkhand over here. Then West Bengal. Okay, we have Tripura over here and Mizoram. Now these are the states through which Tropic of Cancer is passing. Okay, so please remember that. Again, here you can see that is Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Tripura and Mizoram. Okay, so this is about today's section of geography through maps. Now we'll be moving further and starting our discussion. In the next you can say when we are talking about the discussion with the geography through maps, we'll be moving further with the other maps, and now we'll be focusing on India for a while, and then we'll be moving to the states. Okay, so now let's start with the discussion over here. That is, CGI led bench takes up the petition against 1991 Act. Supreme Court steps in, stops all survey until we decide Places of Worship Act. Now when we talk about this Places of Worship Act, okay, this was enacted in 1991. After that, when we are talking about the Ayodhya issue was there, okay, considering that and considering the you can say social harmony, the government has come up with the Places of Worship Act. We will be seeing that what is the provision of that, but later on it was challenged in the court that it was there is a cutoff date which is arbitrary, and second thing is it is basically against the fabric of secularism, judicial review as well, because it bars on the judicial review. Or you can say the when we are talking about the provisions of the Places of Worship Act, it is saying that you cannot change the status of a place of worship after a particular cutoff date, that is 15th August 1947. Okay, and court cannot also hear cases regarding that. So considering that, it was considered that it is kind of a bar on the judicial review, which is a basic structure of the constitution. On these two parameters, that it is barring the judicial review, and second thing is it has an arbitrary cutoff date. Okay, on these two parameters, this act was basically challenged. Okay, or the constitutional validity of this act was challenged. Now what is the issue now? While this act was challenged and the issue is with the Supreme Court to hear, there are various other issues which has started. Like recently there was this issue of Ajmer Dargah. Okay, so there is this conflict which has started, and the local district court or the subordinate judiciary has taken up the cases. They have ordered the surveys, etc., and because of which number of cases are increasing, and that is why Supreme Court has interfered over here, and they have said that by the time or till we decide this particular case, till then you cannot go for any further orders. Okay, so let's see what is the issue here. On December 12, 2024, a bench led by CGI Sanjeev Khanna, he is the newly appointed CGI, okay, Sanjeev Khanna, barred the court from passing effective orders in case questioning the act until further orders. This move effectively paused lower court action that may contravene the act. Okay, so now lower courts cannot go for the passing of any kind of order with respect to the Places of Worship Act. Okay, now here you can see what is let's talk about the provision of the Places of Worship Act. We have talked about it earlier, so I will not go into much details, but I'll give you an overview over here. Okay, it is described as an act to prohibit the conversion of any place of worship, to provide for the maintenance of the religious character of any place of worship. So basically they are saying that you cannot convert the status of places of worship, or you can say if there is a you can say place of worship which is of a particular religious denomination, so you cannot convert it to another religious denomination. Okay, now second thing is the act declared that the religious character of a place of worship shall continue to be the same as it was on the August 15, 1947. Now this is the date of your independence. Okay, but the thing is they have made the cutoff date. There is no rationale given behind this particular issue, because at that point of time also there are various issues which were there. Okay, but they have said that now on there will be no change in the religious character of a place of worship. Okay, despite the cases which are there. One exception was there, that is your Ayodhya case. Okay, that is another story, but that was said that from this particular date, that is August 15, 1947, we cannot change the status of places of worship. Now that is what the petitioner has argued, that this is an arbitrary date or arbitrary cutoff which was placed, and because of which this act was also challenged. Now coming to the next one, it says that no person shall convert any place of worship of any religious denomination into one of the different denomination or the section. Okay, so that is what the Place of Worship Act is. Now this act excludes the Ayodhya Ram Janmabhoomi dispute, which was already under litigation at the time of its passes. So that was an exception which was created at that point of time. Now here you can see you can say contrasting observation. There are various times when the court has looked into the this particular, or you can say they have given some kind of observation with respect to this particular act. Okay, so let's see over here. In the Ayodhya judgment, they have actually mentioned it. In the Ayodhya Ram Bhumi verdict 2019, Supreme Court deemed that the 1991 Act is a fundamental pillar of the constitutional secularism. When we talk about the constitutional secularism, that is basically your basic structure, part of the basic structure of the constitution. The judgment highlighted that the Act is a healing measure post-independence to address the historical grievances. The law is binding on all citizens and the state to prevent the alteration of places of worship. Now they have said that it is important for the social harmony, and they have upheld the, or you can say they have said that this law is kind of needed. Okay, so that is what they have said, that it is a fundamental feature. Okay, and we cannot disturb that. So that was been observed in the 2019 Ayodhya judgment case. Now here you can see challenge to the 1991 Act, that was challenge which was, again petition was filed in 2020. Okay, 2020 they have actually filed a petition. They have said two things. It takes away the power of judicial review by abating the claims that existed at the time of passing of the law and the prohibiting fresh claims in the court. Okay, so this Act actually prohibit the fresh claims in the court. Okay, coming to the next one, that is it is arbitrary in retrospective picking August 15, 1947 as the cutoff date. As I told you, there are two contentions which are moved forward. One was that it is taking the power of judicial review away. Second is that the cutoff date was arbitrary. Now on the basis of these two things, in 2020 this particular constitutional validity of this Act was challenged. Now in during the time of D. Y. Chandrachud, he has given an observation. So in 2022 Supreme Court has given an observation. So let's see what was that. Under CGI D. Y. Chandrachud, the Supreme Court has orally observed that ascertaining the religious character of a place of worship may not necessarily violate the section 3 and 4 of the Act. Section 3 and 4 says that you cannot convert the status of a place of worship, but they are saying that determining or the ascertaining that this is the real character of this place of worship, okay, that is not barred. Okay, so that was an interpretation which has opened the way for the various litigations in the, you can say, law. Okay, after that there was, you must have heard about the recent issue, that is Sambal issue. Other than that, the Ajmer Dargah issue. So that has paved a way for the orders by the various district court. They have gone for the, you can say, survey of the Gyanvapi. They have gone for the survey. They have when we talk about the district court at Ajmer, they have also said that there can be a survey. So considering that in 2022 there was this observation which was made by then CGI. He said that ascertaining the religious character of a place of worship, that is not barred by the section 3 and 4 of the Act. They are saying basically we cannot convert the status of a place of worship, but we can ascertain it, we can determine, because a place of worship cannot have the two religious character. Let's say if there is a place, we cannot say that it is also a Hindu site and a Muslim site. So that is what they are saying, that we cannot actually convert the status, but we can determine it. Okay. Then these observations indirectly allowed the district court to entertain civil suit questioning the religious character of a site such as the Gyanvapi mosque. Now this was the correct, you can say, observation in 2022. Now 2024, the recent judgment is talking about certain things. The current bench emphasizes the lower court cannot contradict the Ayodhya judgment, which upheld the Act as part of the basic structure of the constitution. We have already seen the Ayodhya Act. In that they have said that it is part of the basic structure, and that is the constitutional secularism. Okay. Now they are saying that you cannot actually go or the contravene this particular judgment. Justice K.V. Viswanathan stressed that the civil courts cannot overstep constitutional principles set by the Supreme Court, reiterating that the Act enforces the secularism and preserves the communal harmony. So here they have said that now on, till we decide the case, you cannot go for any kind of orders. Okay, so what is the implication? Bar on the effective orders. Lower courts are now restrained from passing any order that could determine the intent of that could undermine the intent of the 1991 Act, that is Places of Worship Act, including the survey, inquiry into the religious character of the disputed site. Okay, so now on, no court or no subordinate court can go for determining the, or you can say, any kind of order with respect to survey or determining the religious character. Okay. Now moving further here, reinforcement of the constitutional mandate, which was reinforced in the Ayodhya judgment as well. Okay. Do you take classes of the newspaper analysis every day? Yes, we take classes of the newspaper analysis every day until unless there is some kind of emergency. Otherwise, on the Saturday and Sunday, we do not come live. We take up that particular newspaper in the Monday's discussion. Okay. So technically all the newspaper will be covered over here. if we do not take class at any, let's say if yesterday we could not come take the class, so we will be taking it the next day. So we will be covering the newspaper, so you don't have to worry about the coverage of the newspaper. Okay. Now moving further, we have discussed that what is the 2024 Supreme Court observation. Now what is the challenge ahead? Still the Places of Worship Act has not been decided, or the constitutional validity has not been decided yet. Okay, Supreme Court still has to look into that particular matter. So Supreme Court faced the challenging task of adjudicating on the constitutional validity of the act, with some petitioners arguing its limits the right to seek the remedies under Article 25 and 26 because it is barring the judicial review. Okay, second is balancing the historical grievances with the principle of secularism and the equity. That is the challenge which is in front of the Supreme Court as of now. Okay, now if you want to know about certain disputes, these are certain disputes which are there. Okay, I'll just go through the names over here. If you are interested, you can go into the details which is given in the Indian Express. Okay. Now, Shahi Jama Masjid, Sambal case was recently in news, so this location becomes important for you. Coming to the next one, that is Kamal Maula Mosque, that is there in Dhar. Okay, sorry, Gyanvapi, Varanasi, that issue you know that. Samsi Jama Masjid, that is there in Badaयूं. Okay, then Kuwat ul Islam, that is there in Delhi. Shahi Eidgah Mosque, that is in Mathura. Tile Wali Masjid, that is there in Lucknow. Ajmer Sharif Dargah, that is Ajmer, and Malali Juma Masjid, that is there in Mangaluru. Okay, so these are some of the disputed or the pending disputes which are there in front of the courts. Okay, so now let's move further to the next one, that is High Court judges removal. Recently there was this event at which a High Court judge has expressed his or he has advocated the idea of UCC. Okay, in that sense there are certain opposition leaders in Rajya Sabha. They have initiated or they have kind of said that they will be going for the impeachment of that particular judge, and they have started a motion. Okay, they have taken the sign of 38 of the MPs for the support. When we talk about the removal of a judge, there is a particular procedure. Okay, so in short I will tell you the procedure. Let's say there was some kind of when we are talking about the Indian Constitution, there are two grounds on which a judge can be removed. Okay, that is, one is proven misbehavior, second is incapacity. Okay, these are not defined in the Constitution, these are just mentioned in the Constitution. Okay, now let's say if some of the MPs or the group of MPs believe that there is some kind of proved misbehavior which has happened, so they can initiate the process for the impeachment. Now it is not a process of impeachment, it is just a impeachment like procedure. Okay, only in India the term impeachment is used only for the president, but we use this impeachment like procedure for the other cases. Let's say the judges of the Supreme Court and the High Court. Now some of the MPs has decided that they will be going for initiating the procedure, so they will be needing support of 50 MPs in Rajya Sabha if the proceedings are starting in Rajya Sabha, and otherwise they will be needing 100 MPs in Lok Sabha if the proceeding is started in Lok Sabha. Now if you have this much support, then you can place it in front of the, you can say chairman. Okay, chairman of the Rajya Sabha or the speaker of the Lok Sabha. Now once you have put it in front of the chair, after that the chair will be going for a committee, special committee will be constituted. Okay, there will be 3 members over here. One is CJI, Chief Justice of India, second will be the Chief Justice of a High Court, and third will be a distinguished jurist. Okay, that will be nominated by the, you can say, speaker or the chairman. Okay, now this committee will look into the allegations which are put forward by this notice. They will look into the allegations, and if they find the person guilty, then the further proceeding will go on. If they think that the judge is not guilty, the suit will, that particular motion will be dropped over there. Okay, now if they find guilty, then what will happen is that they will put the motion in front of the parliament for the, you can say, discussion and then voting. Okay, so if let's say that is there in the house of Rajya Sabha, so they will go for the discussion and they will go for voting. So I'm sorry, when they are going for the voting, they will be requiring a special majority. Okay, special majority over here, that is majority of total membership of the house and 2/3 of present and voting. Okay, so there will be a special majority which will be required. There will be one, that is the majority of total membership of the house, and then 2/3 of those who are present and voting on that particular day. Okay, once you get this majority and you have passed the motion in Rajya Sabha, then it will be moved to the Lok Sabha. In Lok Sabha also there will be discussion and voting. Same majority will be required over there as well. And now the when the motion is passed in both the houses, then it will be sent to the president. President will be going for an presidential order, which is for the removal of the judge. And this is how a judge is removed in India. Okay, so recently that has happened. Now let's see. When we talk about the impeachment, what are the grounds, etc. I have told you everything, but we will go through it over here. Okay. Now, impeachment of the judge in India is a constitutional and a highly stringent process because the kind of majority is required that is very high. Okay. Designed to maintain judicial independence while providing accountability for the misconduct or the incapacity that is there. Grounds, if we talk about, there are two grounds which are mentioned in the Article 124 clause 4, that is basically proved misbehavior and the incapacity. Now these are not defined over there, but with with the time there are some kind of interpretation has been taken that this includes that dignity, integrity or the impartiality of the judiciary is ignored. Okay, so that is basically your proved misbehavior. Second, when we are talking about the incapacity, that is physical or the mental incapacity with respect to the you can say capability or the discharging the duty of a judge. Okay, so these are the two grounds which are there. Now some provision applying to the same provisions are applying to the High Court under Article 2, 1 and 8. In the recent case, that is the Article 2, 1 and 8. Okay. Now moving further, impeachment process if we talk about, so impeachment process, the whole process is given under the Judges Inquiry Act 1968. Okay. Now here you can say initiation. So there will be a motion for the impeachment, requires signature from the 100 Lok Sabha MPs and 50 Rajya Sabha MPs. If it is initiated in the Lok Sabha, then 100. If it is initiated in Rajya Sabha, then 50. Okay. Now this is, once this is signed, that it will be placed in front of the Speaker of the Lok Sabha or the Chairman of the Rajya Sabha in whichever house the the procedure is initiated. Okay. Now inquiry committee, as I told you, there will be an inquiry committee. 3 members will be there. Inquiry committee will be constituted by either the Speaker or the Chairman depending on the house it was initiated. So Chief Justice of India or the Supreme Court judge, both of you can say one of them will be there, and Chief Justice of High Court and distinguished jurist nominated by the Speaker or the Chairman. Now it will be deciding on the allegations, and if they find guilty, then the proceeding will go further, and if they don't find the judge guilty, then the proceeding will be dropped over there. Now once they are they have found the judge guilty, there will be a voting in Parliament in the both houses, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, one by one separately, and they will be requiring a majority, that is basically a majority of total membership of each house and 2/3 of the majority of the present and voting. Okay. Now after that there will be a presidential order which will be removing the judge. Okay. Despite 6 attempts since independence, no judge has been successfully impeached. There are various times, 6 times actually the impeachment proceedings has started, but judge was not impeached or removed because either before that they have resigned, either they did the house did not gather the majority to remove a judge. So considering that, till now there is no judge which has been impeached in India. Okay, so that is one of the important thing. Okay, can you please add some PYQ? Okay, we will be going for the PYQ as well in the next. Once we are done with the geography, we will be going for the PYQ as well. So don't worry about that. One by one, we will be trying to consider these aspects, which is important for us. Okay. Sir, even the local courts know about the act. How can they order to commit any survey? As I told you, in 2022, there was this interpretation by the CGI DY Chandrachud that you can say courts can go for determining the religious character. We cannot convert you can say a religious character of the place. That is what is said in the act, but we can try to determine. Okay. So considering that there are these some of the you can say courts, lower courts has started these kind of surveys and all. Okay, but you don't have to go into all these details. You just have to restrict yourself to the legal provisions, because in examinations these legal provisions will be asked, and no political angle or these things will not be considered over here. Okay. Anyways, now coming to the next one, right of a deity to be worshipped. Supreme Court notice to the Kerala temple. Now there is a temple in Kerala, the Sri Krishna temple. Okay. There was this particular puja. There is a ritual which is to be performed every year. That is Uday Sthan. Okay. Uday Sthaman. Okay, so this particular puja or the ritual is to be performed over there, but because of the logistical issues, they could not perform. Okay, so Supreme Court has given notice to the Kerala temple over here. The Supreme Court issues a notice to the Guruya Guruvayur Devaswam board. Okay, when we are talking about this particular Guruvayur Devaswam board, sorry for the pronunciation because this is something new I'm reading. So when we are talking about this particular board, this is the place, and this is the board which is taking care of the management over there. Okay, so Supreme Court has given notice to this particular board for cancelling the traditional Uday Sthaman Puja on Ekadasi, citing crowd management issue. Okay, because of the logistical issues, they have said that we could not go for this particular puja. So here Supreme Court has said that this particular puja is a time honored ritual performed on the Ekadashi of the Vrishchik month, considered sacred for the Kerala Sri Krishna temple. Okay, court's observation says that the bench has highlighted the right of a deity to be worshipped. When we talk about the deity, there are when we talk about the Ayodhya Janmabhoomi case, so there was this deity, that is Ram Lalla, and he was fighting his own case. So we are actually considering them as a legal person. So here they are saying that the deity also has a right to be worshipped. Okay, so they have considered that, and considering that, they have given the notice over here. Okay, now administrative accountability, if we talk about, so the Supreme Court has criticized the temple administration for prioritizing the crowd control over the religious practice, questioning the chief priest authority to agree to the cancellation. Okay, now what is the cultural implications? The puja is a religious practice followed for the centuries and is integral to the temple's traditions. The case raises questions about the balancing traditional practices with the administrative and the crowd management challenges in the public religious spaces. So basically here you just know that the right to be worshipped, deity's right to be worshipped, that is also a right. Okay, that is all I wanted to tell you from this particular article. Okay, and here court has given a notice to you can say that particular administrative body which is over there. Okay, that says that you can say this is also a significant right. Okay, so cultural aspects cannot be ignored. That is what the court is saying in this particular observation. Now, moving further, one nation, one election, cabinet clears bill for the joint Lok Sabha and Assembly polls to be tabled soon. Okay, earliest joint poll is likely to be likely to happen in 2024 if there is no change. Okay, now cabinet has cleared it. Now they are saying that in the winter session they will be going for tabling the bill as well. Okay, now here you can see what is the central idea behind the one nation, one election. We don't have to go into details because we have in the various discussions we have talked about one nation, one election. The central idea behind the one nation, one election is to synchronize the timing of Lok Sabha and the state assembly elections across all the state to reduce the frequency of the poll throughout the country. So basically they are saying that all the Lok Sabha polls as well as the state assembly polls that should happen at the one time, so that governments will get time for the governance related issues. Okay, so let's see what happens is that, let's say in 2024 there is Lok Sabha election. Okay, and after that 2025 elections in Rajasthan. For example, I'm just saying these are not you can say the data. Okay, in 2026 there is you can say elections in Maharashtra. Now you can see that every year if there are elections in different states, so all the machinery, even the government leaders etc., they will be, you can say, busy with the elections. Then who will work on the governance related issue or the developmental issues? So that is one of the problem. Other than that, when elections are there again and again, that means that there is logistical challenges as well. You have to finance related, you have to infuse money into the elections as well. Other than that, the corruption is also increasing, because when there is election, there is this money and muscle power which is used over here. Okay, because considering all these issues, the government has advocated that they will be going for the one nation, one election or the synchronized election throughout the country at one time, so that for rest of the 4 years they can focus on the you can say developmental issues. Okay, now this concept was practiced till 1967, but was disrupted due to various reasons such as the defection, dismissal and the resolution of the government. When we talk about the initiation, that is 1951 election, and after that for various times these are the simultaneous election was the practice. But after that in 1967, that was the time when regional issues started, and you can say various political parties came into picture. So considering that, there was this issue with respect to the defection, dismissal and resolution, and because of which we went out of the sync. Okay, Here you can say the cycle was first broken in 1959. This is the first time that cycle was broken, but later on you can say subsequently due to the defection and the counter defection between the parties, several legislative assemblies dissolved post 1960, which eventually led to the separate polls for the Lok Sabha and the state assemblies. Right now, if we talk about, there are state of Arunachal Pradesh, Sikkim, Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. There you can say elections are still held with the Lok Sabha elections. Okay. Now, the idea of conducting simultaneous elections was advocated in 1999 by the Law Commission headed by the BP Jivan Reddy. So, that was one of the things which you can mention in your answer writing, that Law Commission has recommended that. Other than that, after that, there was the high level committee which was recently formed under our former president, that is Mr. Ramnath Kovind, and he has also given his recommendations over here. Okay. So, on the basis of which the cabinet has drafted a bill and they will be putting it in the you can say parliament. Okay. Now, constitutional amendment bill proposed changes to the article 83. Now, when we are talking about the current bill, the draft is talking about the change in the article 83, which pertains to the duration of the Lok Sabha, article 82, which pertains to the delimitation, article 172, that is basically talking about the covering the duration of the state assemblies. Okay, so these three articles will be you can say amended, because obviously right now there are various states which are having different timeline of elections than the Lok Sabha elections. Okay, now we have to sync the timeline. That means that either we have to extend the timing of some of the legislative assemblies, or we have to curtail the timing of these legislative assemblies. Okay, so that for that they have given some of the recommendations which are given over here. Let's see. The government must develop a legally tenable mechanism to restore the cycle of the simultaneous elections. Now you have to come up with a particular provision so that you will start the election from a particular day. Okay, and from that particular day you will be seeing that the timings are synced again. Okay, for the purpose of synchronizing the Lok Sabha and the assembly polls, the president shall notify the date of first sitting of Lok Sabha after general elections as appointment date. Okay, so this time 2024 has already happened, so next time it will be 2029. At that point of time they will be going for the appointment date. Okay, and then from that appointment date there will be 5 years, that is the Lok Sabha's you can say tenure, and after that the next election will be considered as the simultaneous post, that is you can say 34. Okay, 2034. So president here will be notifying a appointment date. Please remember this particular term, appointed date. Now this appointed date is the date of the sitting of the first Lok Sabha. Okay, so here you can say president shall notify the date of first sitting of Lok Sabha after general elections as the appointed date, and then the tenure of all the assemblies formed via the poll after the appointed date and before the expiry of the full term of the Lok Sabha will only be for the period of the ending of the subsequent parliamentary poll. So basically they are saying that from this appointed date, okay, whatever Lok Sabha is there, be it the time if these are formed after the elections, after the appointed date or before that, but they will be valid till that particular date only, and after that there will be fresh elections everywhere. Okay, so that is the case. The fresh election could be held to constitute a new Lok Sabha in the event of hung house or the no confidence motion. Now here we are saying that once appointed date is there, after that whatever you can say state assembly is there, they will be having a you can say decided time period, till that only they will be performing, and after that there will be fresh elections. Now what happens that if after fresh elections there is no majority, or there is the hung assembly, okay, or if the Lok Sabha is dissolved, in such cases you will be going for the fresh elections, and those particular Lok Sabha which are formed after the fresh elections, they will be valid for the remaining period of time. Okay, now dates will not change, the tenure or the timing of the elections will not change, but whatever, if you are let's say the Lok Sabha is dissolved within, and then new Lok Sabha is been you can say constituted by the fresh elections, so that will be remaining there, that will be there for the remaining period. So let's say in 2029 there was this Lok Sabha which was dissolved in 2031. Okay, so next Lok Sabha which is through the fresh election they will be constituting, that will be there for the remaining 3 years only. Okay, so that is how they will try to synchronize the you can say all the dates here. Okay, coming to the next one, fresh elections are held for the House of People, that is Lok Sabha. The tenure will be only for the unexpired term, that is as I told you that the remaining terms. Then moving further, when the fresh elections are held for the state legislative assemblies, unless sooner dissolved, shall continue up to the end of the full term of the Lok Sabha. So their term will also end with the Lok Sabha's term. Okay. Then moving further, single electoral roll will be prepared by the ECI, that is Election Commission of India, and if they are coming up with the new roll, that will be updated like that. Coming to the next one here, for making logistical arrangements, so they Election Commission will be deciding on that. So Election Commission may draw up a plan and estimate in advance for the procurement of equipment, deployment of polling personnel and the security forces, and make other necessary arrangements. Okay, so that is for the Election Commission of India to decide. Now what is the first step over here? The Union Cabinet on Thursday approved the bill to implement one nation one election. In first stage, election for the Lok Sabha and the State Assembly can be held together. So that is the thing that they have come up with the draft bill. Then moving for the second step, the election to the municipalities and the panchayats will be synchronized with the Lok Sabha and the State Assembly in such a way that when we are talking about the Lok Sabha and the State Assembly, that is the first phase, wherein they will be synchronizing the Lok Sabha and the Assembly's elections. Then later on, within 100 days, you have to go for the panchayat and the municipality elections as well. Okay. So let's say you have gone for the elections for the in January 2025. Okay. And within 100 days, you have to go for the elections of the panchayat and the municipalities. Now these are the Lok Sabha and the State Assemblies elections. Within 100 days, you have to go for the panchayat and municipality elections, so that all the elections in the India, they will be synchronized. Okay. So that is about your one nation, one election, your all the recommendations which are there, everything. Okay. Okay. Now let's move further to the next one. Assam Cabinet clears SOP to link Aadhaar with the NRC. Now when we are talking about the Assam, there is this NRC. Okay. National Register for Citizenship, like that. So that is a special provision which was there. So right now we are having NRC for Assam only. Okay. So here you can say state government would begin verification of the applicant for Aadhaar cards in Assam and reject the application whose families had not applied to be part of the NRC. Okay. So now only those candidates will be getting Aadhaar card who are there in the NRC. Okay. So that is what has been you can say said by the Chief Minister over here, and they have come up with the SOP for that. Okay. The state government has decided to issue a standard operating protocol for future issuance of Aadhaar card, which will make mandatory for one to furnish NRC application number which had been provided to them while the applying in 2015. So NRC in Assam was with respect to the 2015, they have been given an application number, okay, that you have to produce while you are applying for the Aadhaar card. Okay. General Administration Department of the state government would be the nodal agency for the implementation, overseen by the additional district commissioners at the district level by the circle officer at the revenue circle level. Okay. After the application is made, UID is basically your Aadhaar related authority is there. So unique identity, this authority of India. You can go through the full form. I am not able to recall it. Okay. So UID. So this is Unique Identity Authority of India. Yes, that is the one. Unique Identity Authority of India. That will send it to the state government for the verification. Now you have applied for the Aadhaar. Okay. Now that will be sending to the state government for the verification. Now the circle officer concerned would be checking the application on their for the application of the NRC, etc. Now once the verification is done, then you will be able to get this Aadhaar. Okay. Now here you can say if the applicant or their family has applied for the inclusion in NRC, if found on that the application for NRC, the circle officer will go for a field level visit. Okay, they will go for the field level visit over there as per the Supreme Court's directive. After the officer is fully convinced that after that only you will be getting the Aadhaar. Okay, the process of updating the NRC, which is currently in limbo after the publication of the final NRC in 2019, had begun in 2015. Now it is to determine whether the applicant has entered the state before March 24, 1971. Now this is the cutoff date. As per the NRC, those people who has come to Assam before this particular date, they will be given the entered into the NRC. So that is basically the idea, that all the illegal immigrants which are there or after the Bangladesh war which they have entered into Assam, they are trying to put their case in front of the foreign tribunals. Okay, and then foreign tribunal will decide on their citizenship status. Okay, so that is there. To determine whether an applicant has entered the state before March 24, 1971, those who were found to have entered Assam before that were to be included in NRC and be recognized as citizen, and those who were excluded, that their case will be put forward in front of the foreigners tribunal system. Okay. In the final NRC published in 2019, 19 lakh of these applicants has been excluded. However, NRC is yet to be notified. Okay, so that is about the NRC and the SOP with respect to the Aadhaar issuance. Now, from this article, what is important for you is that, one, what is NRC? Second, what is Assam Accord? Third, this cutoff date which is there, that is 24th March 1971. You have to know that who of these people are considered as citizens and who are excluded. Okay, so this is from this article. Now moving further, new Syrian regime to dissolve Assad security forces, suspend constitution. Okay, so basically you know that in Syria opposition rebel has taken into the power. They have gone for the interim, they have made an interim prime minister over here, that is Mohammad al-Bashir. Okay, so they are now trying to change the regime over here. They are trying to dissolve the Assad security forces and suspend the constitution, etc. Now Mujibur Rahman, when we are talking about, so he has given a Joy Bangla or you can say slogan which was there. So the High Court has actually declared that it will be a national slogan, but now Supreme Court has put a bar on that. Other than that, also his legacy is being destroyed. His you can say pictures from the notes, etc., has been removed. For your own read, there is this article, why animal kills their young, and there are many other reasons. So you can go through this article. And second is 9 years of the Paris Agreement. So you can go through this article as well. Okay. Now in the end, there is a practice question. You can read the question and then answer to me in the comment box. Okay, what is the majority that is required in the both House of Parliament to pass a motion for the impeachment against a judge? Okay, so that is there. You can go through this question and answer to me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. I'll see you in the next episode. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.